Hey everyone. Welcome to AfriHeart Stories, your go-to spot for African tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment. Now sit back and enjoy. Lana twisted the silver band on her finger for the 50th time that morning, its small diamond winking under the office light. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't expensive. But it meant everything to her. Darren said he chose it because it felt like me, she had told her best friend Tolu. Simple but solid. Not loud, but lasting. 2 months ago, he had slipped it onto her finger after dinner at a modest restaurant they both loved. Not an engagement ring, he'd said, but a promise. We'll get there. You're my forever, Lana. And she'd believed him. Lana, the grounded office assistant who paid bills on time, who made jollof rice from scratch, who budgeted to support Darren's startup dreams. She believed in love the way people believed in gravity. It was steady, invisible, and undeniable. Now she sat in her cubicle entering inventory data while her phone buzzed. It was a message from Darren. Got the investment. You're the best. Drinks tonight? She smiled. That investment was possible because she emptied 700,000 Nigerian nairas from her savings account for his pitch deck, lawyer, and incorporation. She hadn't told anyone at work. Not even Tolu. She just wanted to support him quietly. He was going to make it big and she'd be right beside him, his queen. Or so she thought. Something shifted after Darren's investor funds came in. Subtle at first. He stopped waiting for her to come over. He used to text her, "Safe trip, baby?" Now silence. One weekend she dropped by his flat with groceries like she used to. He barely opened the door. "I'm on a call. Can't talk now," he muttered, shirtless and distracted. "Okay. I'll just leave the food in the kitchen." "Cool," he said, not even turning around. She walked past the living room, noticing a glass of wine and 2 used cups on the coffee table. When she went to hug him goodbye, he turned away. "I'm sweaty. Just worked out." Later that week, she found perfume in his car. Expensive, floral, and unfamiliar. Not hers. "You know I have female clients," he had said, waving it off. "One of them probably forgot it." She nodded, but her stomach tightened. He had started wearing cologne he never wore before. Designer. New shoes. New watch. He changed the lock screen on his phone from their picture to just his company logo. He was transforming, and she was fading in the background. The final confirmation came by accident. Lana stayed over one night, an attempt to rekindle things. They had dinner, watched a movie. He barely touched her. In the middle of the night, Darren groaned in his sleep. Then he said it. "Stacy." Lana froze. Stacy? His ex. The one who broke him years ago? She lay there beside him in the dark, tears soaking into his pillow, pretending to sleep. Morning came. She made breakfast and pretended to be fine. Darren didn't notice anything was wrong. He had a meeting. He left with a kiss to her cheek, barely touching her lips. As soon as the door closed, Lana sat on the bed, numb. She Googled Stacy. Found her Instagram. And there she was, recently tagged at an art gallery opening in Abuja. Looking radiant, unapologetic, expensive. And newly refollowed by Darren. It was a Monday afternoon when the alert came through. 1.4 million Nigerian nairas withdrawn from the joint savings account. Lana's hand trembled. That account was meant to be for their rent and future emergencies. She called Darren immediately. "Hello." His voice was calm, almost too calm. "Why is the savings account empty?" "Oh, I was gonna tell you," he said casually. "It's for a surprise. Something big. A new place. For us. You could have told me. I wanted to, babe. I wanted it to be perfect. Don't worry, I've got everything under control." But Lana's gut screamed. Darren had never done anything like this before. He was always open about finances. She checked the account again. Not just empty. Close. And her name? Now removed from the beneficiary list. The bank app showed a new account holder, Darren Akand. The trust she had in him cracked, but she still clung to hope. Maybe, just maybe, it really was a surprise. It was Tolu who shattered the last illusion. "Babe, I need you to sit down." Lana was at her desk, eyes puffy from a restless night. Tolu hesitated. "Have you been on Instagram today?" "No." She passed her phone over. A wedding invite gleamed on the screen. "Stacy and Darren. Join us to celebrate love forever and always. Date, this Saturday. Venue, the Grand Marquis Hotel." Lana's mouth went dry. "This is a joke," she whispered. "It's everywhere. All the event vendors posted it." "You didn't know?" Lana stood up, grabbed her bag and walked out. Her legs moved before her mind caught up. She got into a Kiki Napep, then an Uber, then another taxi. She didn't care where she was going. Just away. Her phone buzzed again. This time from Darren. Don't believe everything you see online. She stared at his message like it was written in fire. She had believed in him with her whole soul. And now, she was just a discarded backup. But not for long. Lana arrived at the office on Monday wearing her usual crisp white blouse and navy pencil skirt, but inside she felt hollow. The fluorescent lights overhead hummed as she swiped into the time clock, her footsteps echoing down the pastel corridor. Everyone greeted her normally, her desk mate Ngozi smiled, her manager Mr. Chaik asked about the weekend. But Lana's mind replayed the wedding invite over and over. Darren and Stacy, her name erased, replaced by the woman he'd once sworn he never wanted. She settled into her swivel chair and booted up her computer. The first line of her to-do list blinked at her. Prepare Q3 sales report. She clicked into the spreadsheet, hands trembling slightly. Rows of numbers blurred as she stared through the window at the city beyond. Abuja's skyline glimmered in late morning sun, promises of new beginnings for everyone except her. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Darren. Everything okay? Haven't heard from you since Friday. Lana stared at the message, then turned off notifications. She wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of knowing how much he'd hurt her. As the morning wore on, Lana forced herself through tasks, tallying figures, drafting email responses, scheduling client calls. Her colleagues noticed that her usually quick wit was missing. At lunch, Tolu cornered her in the cafeteria. Lana, you're scaring me. You look like a ghost. Lana managed a weak laugh. I'm fine. Just tired. Tolu grabbed her hand. Don't lie to me. Lana looked around, the overhead echo of clattering trays, the murmur of voices. She drew a breath and whispered, He's married her. On Saturday. To Stacy. Tolu's eyes widened. You knew? Lana shook her head. I just found out. They sat at a corner table. Lana told her everything, the drained account, the perfume, the stolen nights. With each detail her voice grew steadier, anger replacing shock. By the time she finished, her eyes burned, but her posture was straight. Tolu squeezed her arm. You deserve so much better. And you will get it. Lana nodded, a spark lighting in her chest. I will. Back at her desk, she opened a blank document titled, Plan. The cursor blinked at her. She typed, 1. Property research, 2. Legal counsel, 3. Confrontation strategy. She organized her calendar. Lawyer consultation on Tuesday, bank records on Wednesday, property deed deep dive on Thursday. The outline gave her focus, purpose. She would channel this heartbreak into action. By day's end, Lana lingered at her desk long after everyone else left. She reviewed the file on the apartment she'd helped register under her name. Its value, location, and legal ownership, it was hers, undisputed. When Darren signed the lease, she believed it was a gift of security. Now it was her arsenal. As she shut down her computer, the office lights dimmed. The hush of empty spaces settled around her. Lana whispered to the silent room, This ends on their wedding night. And for the first time in weeks, she felt a fierce calm. The lawyer's office was on the 15th floor of a sleek glass tower. Lana sat across from Ms. Ebel Okoro, a formidable attorney known for defending betrayed spouses. Ebel adjusted her glasses, brows furrowed as she scanned the lease file Lana presented. So, you financed, negotiated, and signed this lease all under your name? Ebel asked. Lana nodded. For tax reasons, he said. But I was the one who paid for the deposit and legal fees. Ebel flipped through pages. And since no joint tenancy or co-owner is listed, the property is legally yours. These clauses give you sole control. She tapped the deed. That means you can enforce lease terms, evict occupants, or change access at will. Lana's heart thumped. This was the leverage she needed. The apartment was a luxury 2-bedroom in Guarinpa, far beyond what Lana could have afforded alone. But Darren insisted it was an investment for their future. Now it was the weapon she would wield. Ebel leaned forward. We'll prepare an immediate notice of possession. Serve it to the registered occupants, Darren and his wife, effective the night of their wedding reception. You'll have a certified bailiff deliver it to their suite. The building management must comply. Lana exhaled, relief and anticipation mingling. I want it served precisely when they return from their ceremony. Understood, Ebel said, tapping notes into her tablet. I'll draft the documents. We'll schedule the service for Saturday at 10 p.m., 2 hours after the reception is slated to end. Lana stood. Thank you, she said, voice steady. Then they'll wake up homeless on their wedding night. A small smile curved her lips. Back in her apartment, Lana spread files across her coffee table. Bank statements, the lease deed, wedding invite, and screenshots of Darren's Instagram. The smell of jasmine tea filled the room as she methodically organized evidence. Every betrayal needed a data point. Every slight documented. She carved out the following timeline. Monday morning, account drained, lease signed under her name. Friday evening, lawyer consultation and deed review. Saturday 10 p.m., possession notice delivered. Next she arranged logistics. She called the building management, confirmed Abel's certification, and booked a black sedan to transport her and a trusted friend, Tolu, to the hotel disguised as guests. Then came the emotional work. Lana journaled her feelings, anger, loss, reclaimed power. She wrote affirmations, I am not a victim. I am the architect of my destiny. She played a curated playlist, Afrobeats fused with soulful ballads, until her apartment vibrated with resolve. That afternoon she contacted her mentor, Chef Amaka, whose cooking show had made her a local celebrity. Amaka texted back, I've got your back. Need anything? Lana realized the power of community, hers was on her side now. By evening Lana prepared for the next day. She chose an elegant black dress, sleeveless, knee-length with a subtle shimmer. Her hair in soft waves. Minimal jewelry. She wanted to blend in but still stand out when needed. This wasn't about drama, it was about presence. As Lana drifted to sleep, her mind raced with possibilities. Would Darren recognize her? Would Stacy break down? Would the world watch? She smiled, drifting off with adrenaline coursing through her veins. Tomorrow she would turn grief into grit. Saturday morning dawned bright and crisp. Lana awoke at 7 a.m., showered and dressed. She slipped into her dress and applied makeup, smoky eyes, bold lips, transforming pain into poise. She packed her clutch, the possession notice, ID, a folded copy of the wedding invite and her phone. By 9 a.m. she was in the black sedan, Tolu at her side. They arrived at the Grand Marquis Hotel, where white roses and fairy lights adorned the entrance. Guests in designer gowns and tuxedos posed for photographers. Lana let Tolu guide her through the crowd as though they were friends of the family. From a discreet distance, Lana watched them. Darren in midnight blue tuxedo, hand in hand with Stacy in flowing ivory gown. Their eyes shone as they approached the altar framed by a white arch draped in orchids. Lana felt a pang, memories of dinners, laughter and the promise ring, but she swallowed it down. This was not her moment to falter. The officiant spoke, voices hushed by grandeur. Do you, Darren Ackend, take Stacy Johnson to be your lawfully wedded wife? Darren's voice rang clear, I do. A collective awe rippled through the crowd. Lana's chest tightened, but her face was still calm. They exchanged vows, promises Lana once believed would be hers. Vows of honor, devotion, and unending love. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the words wash over her, in sickness and in health, till death do us part, words that would be hollow in their mouths. Then came the ring exchange, the pronouncement, and finally, you may kiss the bride. Darren bent, kissed Stacy, and the chapel erupted in applause. Lana opened her eyes, breathing deeply. She'd watched from afar, unseen, a ghost weaving the final threads of her plan. As the ceremony ended, Lana slipped out and rejoined Tolu in the lobby under the guise of congratulating guests. They sipped champagne from passing trays, observing the flow of well-wishers. The wedding band began playing upbeat Afropop tunes. Lana tapped her watch. It was 8:15 p.m. 2 hours until the enforcement. She had time to position herself at the reception entrance. She ascended to the second floor where the newlywed suite awaited. White roses lined the hallway and gold ribbons adorned each door. Lana approached room 214, phone recording in hand, proof she was there witnessing their undoing. She knocked once. A gruff voice answered, Who is it? Delivery for the couple, Lana said calmly, sliding a leather portfolio under the door. She retreated into the shadowed corridor. Inside, Darren and Stacy opened the document. Stacy read aloud, Notice of possession, premises to be vacated immediately, signed by landlord Lana Obiora. Darren's face drained of color. He scrambled for his phone. Stacy's eyes welled with tears. The hotel security, alerted by the bailiff's instructions, arrived seconds later. Lana watched unseen as security escorted a furious Darren and crying Stacy into the hallway. Their designer shoes clicked against the marble floor. Guests turned, smartphones raised. Lana felt a surge of power as flash bulbs popped. Toulouse slipped an arm around her waist. You did it. Lana nodded, heart pounding. From beyond the door she heard Darren's voice. This is a mistake. She can't do this. She's your wife. The crowd murmured as Stacy's veil slipped, her mascara running. Lana slipped away, disappearing into the throng of shocked onlookers. She had become the uninvited guest who shattered their perfect night, and the world was watching. Darren's hand shook as he swiped his key card at the suite door. The reader flashed red. Again red. His heart thundered. Are you kidding me? He muttered, pressing harder. Inside, Stacy's muffled sobs were punctuated by the faint click of heels from the hallway. He punched the doorframe. Security, he barked. His breath came in short gasps. A uniformed guard appeared, clipboard in hand. Sir, your card's deactivated. I have a sealed order here. He held up an official-looking envelope stamped, immediate possession/eviction, signed by Ms. Lana Obiora. Darren's face paled. This is a mistake. My wife? His voice cracked. Stacy's footsteps approached behind him. Darren? She whispered. He pushed the guard aside and knocked again. Open this door or I'll call my lawyer. He fumbled for his phone. The guard's expression stayed impassive. Please, Stacy said, voice trembling. It's our wedding night. The guard unfolded the notice. It's effective immediately. Per the property deed, Ms. Obiora is the sole leaseholder. I'm required to enforce it. He offered Darren a handshake. I'm sorry, sir. Darren's shoulders slumped. He swore under his breath. He peered through the peephole, dark corridors, orphan suitcases, white rose petals drifting on the carpet. With a frustrated growl, he removed his cufflinks and tossed them at the door. Take these too. Stacy pressed her forehead to the cold metal. Tears slid down her cheeks. What do we do now? He opened his mouth, then shook his head. I don't know. He sank to the floor, back against the wall. Stacy joined him, leaning into his side, her gown pooling quietly. Moments passed. The guard tapped his clipboard. Can I get you anything? Water? A ride? Darren stood, brushing dust from his trousers. No. We'll figure it out. The guard nodded, then escorted them down the corridor. As the heavy door locked behind them, Darren and Stacy stood in silence, the air heavy with disbelief. Their perfect suite, gone. Their perfect night shattered. They pressed on toward the lobby, clutching one another, unsure and unmoored. The hotel lobby gleamed under chandeliers. Marble floors reflected the soft glow, but the luxury felt distant to Darren and Stacy. They shuffled in, trailing their wedding attire, her ivory train and his midnight blue tailcoat dragging across polished stone. A string quartet tucked in a corner played, At Last, as guests in gowns and tuxedos drifted by, champagne flutes glinting. No one met their eyes. The couple found 2 velvet armchairs by a grand staircase. Luggage, her designer tote and his leather weekend bag, became their pillows. Darren sank into the seat. I can't believe this. Stacy sat beside him, hands pressed together. It's like a bad dream. She glanced at her reflection in a mirrored column, tears-streaked mascara, hairpin undone. They watched staff wheel wedding cakes and floral centerpieces past them en route to the ballroom upstairs. A bellhop paused, eyebrows raised behind a white towel draped over his arm. Mr. and Mrs. Ackend? He asked uncertainly. Darren forced a laugh. Just guests resting. The bellhop nodded and retreated. Silence grew. A maid carrying dirty towels eyed them with pity. Stacy swallowed hard. Do you think anyone? She began. Darren cut in, voice low. They're upstairs celebrating. They don't know. We'll figure this out. But his shoulders trembled. A clutch of onlookers on the mezzanine peered down, murmuring. Is that them? Looks like it. Smartphones emerged. Stacy's heart jolted. Darren, get up. He rose, offering her his arm. Come on. They walked past curious guests and discreet security, moving toward the glass doors. Fresh air and street noise hovered beyond. Cagey glances followed them. As they slipped outside, Stacy exhaled, relief and shame mingling. The lobby's hush remained behind them, so did the laughter of friends they'd never hear again. By dawn, social media was alight. A hastily snapped photo, Darren in tuxedo, Stacy in wedding dress, both clutching their bags on the lobby floor, had gone viral. #homeless honeymoon trended across X and Instagram. Curated news outlets reposted the image. Newlyweds evicted on wedding night ran the headlines. On her phone, Lana scrolled through screenshots. Tweets mocking Darren's jeans and suit, memes of the couple replacing roses with eviction notices, gifs of cartoon brides chasing grooms. Commentary ranged from schadenfreude, serves him right for cheating, to sympathy for Stacy, poor girl, she's innocent. One video showed hopping cell phone cameras capturing Darren arguing with a security guard in the driveway. Another clip caught Stacy in tears outside the hotel entrance. View counts skyrocketed by the minute. A popular blogger dubbed them happily never after, and urged viewers to share their story. In the comments section, accusations flew. He deserved this, she should have known better, Lana is a queen. Yet a surprising faction defended Darren. Why punish Stacy? Lana, have some mercy. The discourse churned with outrage, gossip, and fascination. Lana watched from her apartment, ignoring the notifications she'd muted. A twisted sense of satisfaction curled in her chest. The world saw his betrayal, the world knew her power. She sipped her tea as newscasters debated the legality of an eviction on a wedding night. Even the evening news teased the story with a headline ticker. Just before midnight, a knock sounded at her door. Tolu entered with her laptop. It's gone global. CNN, BBC Africa, they're calling. Lana closed the screen. Let them. It's not about shame anymore. It's about accountability. She stood, stretching after hours locked in her chair. Tomorrow she'd speak. Lana's voice note began softly, "This is Lana Obiora. I'm recording this to set the record straight." She steadied her breath, then spoke clearly into her phone, streaming live to a popular women's empowerment podcast with over 500,000 followers. Last month I loved a man I trusted. I invested my savings, my time, and my faith into that relationship. I never imagined I'd end up a footnote, just a backup plan. When I discovered the truth, my world shattered. But I believe in justice, not revenge. I believe in using the tools at my disposal. She paused. Listeners heard the hum of the city outside her window. I'm not here to humiliate Stacy, she's a victim too. I'm here to demand accountability and respect for women everywhere. If someone wrongs you, know your worth. Know you have power, you just have to claim it. She outlined her actions, the lawyer's counsel, the possession notice, and the timing. She invited listeners to share stories of betrayal and resilience. We create solidarity in our shared experiences. If you've ever been discarded, abandoned, or betrayed, I see you. I stand with you. Comments flooded in. Thank you for speaking up. You're a hero. This is how you take control. A tear slid down her cheek as she read aloud one message. Your strength saved me from drowning in my pain. She ended the stream. I'm not a victim. I'm the author of my story. Now let's write the next chapter, together. Within hours, the podcast episode soared to #1 on local charts. News sites quoted her, a modern anthem for betrayed women, from heartbreak to headliner. The next morning, Lana woke to a deluge of emails and DMs. Brands offered sponsorships. Women's organizations invited her to speak at conferences. Financial firms proposed investment partnerships. A local NGO asked her to headline a domestic abuse awareness fundraiser. She scrolled past dozens of calendars filled with keynote speaker slots. Abuja, Lagos, Nairobi, even London. Chef Amaka called, "Girl, the restaurant wants you for a guest spot on my show. We'll use your story to inspire our audience." Amaka insisted on hosting a pop-up dinner dedicated to women who'd turned pain into purpose. Lana texted back a thumbs up. Her mentor, Ms. Okoro the lawyer, arranged a workshop for young professionals on legal rights in relationships. "You'll co-host with me," she wrote. "We'll empower a generation." Lana paused before accepting everything. She opened a blank document titled, My Vision. 1. Launch a support network for displaced women. 2. Write a memoir about her journey. 3. Establish a microgrant fund for survivors of betrayal. She drafted mission statements. She booked a slot with a life coach. Her community rallied. Tolu volunteered to manage social media. Ngozi offered to help with event logistics. That evening, Lana walked through Guarimpa's upscale market, sampling suya under red lanterns. Strangers recognized her and waved. A child pointed, whispering to her mother, "Isn't that the lady who evicted the cheating groom?" The mother nodded proudly. Lana smiled and waved back, heart full. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lana stood on her balcony, the city lights twinkling. She raised a glass of Zobo juice. To new beginnings, she toasted herself. Her phone buzzed. Another invitation, a TEDx talk in 3 months. She set it aside, savoring the moment. The nightmare of her wedding night had become the catalyst for a new life, one where Lana was never anyone's backup, but the hero of her own story. Darren stared at his phone, thumb hovering over call. He'd spent the last 24 hours in a haze, bouncing between the tiny room he'd rented above the hotel barber shop and endless WhatsApp messages that went unanswered. Each buzz filled him with dread that this time, it really was over. He finally pressed call, and held the phone to his ear with shaking hands. Lana. Her voice was calm, measured, nothing like the warmth he'd grown used to. Please, he began, voice cracking. We need to talk. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I panicked. I got confused. Lana listened in silence. Outside, the city's evening traffic rumbled like a reminder that life continued on without him. Stacy left, he blurted. She said she couldn't do this. She's back in London now, gone. He expected relief to follow his confession, but Lana didn't budge. Is that supposed to make me feel better? She asked softly. He swallowed. I still love you. I always have. Please let me explain. Lana took a measured breath. Explain how you live a lie. How you drained our savings without me knowing. How you built a house on a foundation of deceit. Darren tried to interrupt. I was scared. My business was failing. Money was tight. Stacy reached out. She had connections, clients. I thought I could fix everything and still have you by my side. A chance at success doesn't give you the right to use me as a backup plan, Lana said. His chest tightened. Lana, I'm sorry. I'll do anything to make it right. I'll transfer every naira back, sign a confession. Her laugh was hollow. You can't transfer honesty. You can't sign away your betrayal. He closed his eyes, guilt crashing over him. What can I do? He whispered. Lana's next words were ice. Nothing for me. I gave you every tool to build our future. Now you deserve to live with the ruins you created. The line went silent. Darren looked around the cramped room. No promises, no grand gestures, no tears from the woman he betrayed. Just the click of a call ending. He dropped the phone and sank to the floor. In the fading light, he realized some doors, once slammed, could never be opened again. Lana stood at the entrance of the two-bedroom apartment, keys jangling in her hand. A sign hung crookedly on the door, Turning Point Shelter, a new safe house for survivors of domestic betrayal and abuse. She flipped the key in the lock and pushed the door open. Inside, the space was transformed. Where once luxurious furniture gleamed, now simple beds with pastel linens stood neatly made. A small bookshelf housed donated novels. A kitchenette held boxed meals and cookstove. Uplifting quotes adorned the walls. Your past does not define your future. Tolu, wearing a volunteer vest, greeted her with a warm smile. Everything's set. We've got our first residents arriving tomorrow. Lana walked through each room, envisioning women who would heal here. She remembered the fear and shame she'd felt when standing in the lobby, wedding dress in tow, vulnerable and exposed. Now, that vulnerability was repurposed, turned into a space of safety. That evening, at the shelter's small opening ceremony, local activists and journalists gathered. Cameras flashed as Lana gave a speech. This shelter isn't about punishing anyone. It's about providing hope to those who feel powerless. We all deserve respect, honesty, and a place to rebuild. Among the crowd, Chef Amaka handed out plates of jollof rice and suya skewers, funds raised from their pop-up dinner. The aroma of spices reminded Lana of simpler times when love felt like homemade meals and laughter. Later, as the lights dimmed and the guests drifted away, Lana lingered in the common room. She placed a small photo on a shelf, a snapshot of her and Tolu, arms linked, beaming under golden lights. It was a reminder of friendship's power. That night, Lana lay in the apartment's main bedroom. The same room that once held her as an obsessed lover, now cradled her as a protector. She closed her eyes, not with heartbreak, but with purpose. Tomorrow she would welcome her first residents, and watch them begin their own journeys to strength. News of the shelter spread like wildfire. Social media influencers visited, sharing stories in real time. Local radio ran features. Backup bride becomes beacon of hope. Even call-in shows invited Lana to discuss legal rights and emotional resilience. Meanwhile, Darren's world unraveled further. His investors withdrew support after seeing the viral footage. Stacy's social circle branded him a pariah. Creditors hounded him for the money he had stolen. His startup dissolved, leaving him with nothing but regrets and a tarnished reputation. One evening, Lana received an unexpected text. Her old boss, Mr. Chaik, asking her to join him at the company's head office. Congratulations on the shelter. We'd like to discuss a partnership. Lana drove to the gleaming high-rise, reflection of city lights dancing across her windshield. In his corner office, Mr. Chaik offered her a position, head of the new corporate social responsibility arm, focused on women's economic empowerment. "Your story inspired us," he said. "We want to invest in your vision." Lana felt a swell of pride. Here was a chance to scale her impact, turn one apartment's refuge into a city-wide network. She accepted on the spot. A month later, she stood before a packed auditorium at a tech conference. On stage, she shared, "When someone tries to break you, let it be the catalyst to build something greater. Your pain can become your purpose." The crowd erupted in applause. As she stepped off stage, her phone buzzed with congratulations. Then a missed call from an unknown number, London. It was Stacy calling to apologize and offer assistance with the shelter. Lana smiled, realizing even those who had faltered could seek redemption. 2 years had passed. The Turning Point shelter had expanded to 3 locations across Abuja and Lagos. Over 500 women had passed through its doors, each leaving stronger, more confident, and armed with new skills. Lana often received letters from former residents. "Because of this shelter, I started my own tailoring business. I graduated college because you believed in me." On a sunny Saturday morning, Lana hosted the shelter's anniversary gala. The ballroom shimmered with twinkling lights and elegant floral arrangements. Former residents shared testimonials on stage. Slideshows displayed before and after photos, women in fragile states, then healthy and hopeful. Lana's eyes glistened as she listened. She remembered the promise ring that had once felt like a lifetime covenant, now a distant memory. That ring symbolized everything she'd survived: betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak. And yet, she'd forged something lasting from its shards. Later, she stepped outside onto the terrace. The city skyline stretched before her, towers of glass and steel reaching upward like aspirations fulfilled. Tolu handed her a glass of sparkling Zobo juice. "You did it," she said simply. Lana raised her glass. "We did it." In that moment, legacy wasn't about wealth or status. It was about the lives she'd touched, the futures she'd resurrected. And she knew this was only the beginning. 1 year after the gala, Lana's life had settled into a rhythm of purpose and contentment. She lived in a modest 3-bedroom flat near Was Market, with windows that overlooked a canopy of bougainvillea. On this particular night, she prepared for bed with no racing thoughts. She had no pending legal battles, no viral controversies, just the warm hum of a peaceful home. She tucked away her laptop, turned off her phone notifications, and slid beneath crisp white sheets. As she closed her eyes, memories floated through her mind: the sparkle of Darren's promise ring, the sting of hotel lobby humiliation, the rush of empowerment as the shelter's doors opened, the applause at her first TEDx talk. Each memory felt like a stepping stone, painful, yes, but essential. She inhaled deeply, the scent of lavender from her diffuser calming her. Tomorrow she'd lead a workshop on building resilience. But tonight she allowed herself to rest. In the quiet darkness, Lana whispered to herself, "I was never the backup. I was the blessing." A soft smile curved her lips. And with that affirmation settling in her heart, she drifted into the deepest, most peaceful sleep she'd ever known. Liked it? Thumbs up, subscribe, and join the AfriHeart fam. Your support fuels our stories. Until next time.